You've invested months, maybe even years into bringing your game to life, and now it's time to get it noticed. But that also means it's time to start reaching out to streamers, journalists, press, content creators, all of the people who can help amplify your game and get it in front of your right audience. But that also means that you're going to be doing some cold email outreach. And I know for a fact that that is something that can often feel uncomfortable. You feel like you're bothering people. You don't want to come off as desperate. Well, my friend, that is exactly why I sat down with Taylor Rodriguez, aka Coach Taz. He has over 16 years of marketing experience, and he has helped countless indie studios build relationships with streamers, journalists, content creators, and more. He's also seen what happens when developers treat outreach as optional, or even worse, just avoid it altogether. So what you're about to watch is a segment from our conversation where Taylor shares his experience and insights on what you might be giving up by not incorporating a reach out strategy while you create your game. And lastly, if you find the conversation helpful and you want to see the complete breakdown, including email templates, follow-up strategies, and real-world examples, then just check out the full episode link below. With that, my friend, let's dive in and have a great day. So we know some of the roadblocks, but what are some of the biggest kind of disadvantages for an indie dev who is avoiding cold outreaches?
Number one, like as intimidating as it is, if you completely axe outbound marketing, or I'll just start saying cold emailing because everybody knows
Yep.
what that is. If you just completely axe cold emailing out of your strategy, you're going to miss out on a lot of networking opportunities. Like you have to imagine everybody is in their email every single day. And I'm not saying that you can't do other marketing strategies. By all means, you should, because this is a crowded market. You have to have multiple marketing touch points. You have to do multiple things if you're going to stand out in this crowded world, especially on Steam. You have to at least include, especially if you don't have like any type of rapport with any type of game journalists or any type of content influencers. Like you have to ask yourself, what's going to be your strategy to get in front of them, to get recognized and hopefully have your game showcased in front of these individuals? Because you have to imagine, put yourself in the shoes of these game journalists. They're getting paid per article that they write, the big IGNs, the GameStops, et cetera, et cetera. They're getting paid per article, and they're getting paid based on the amount of views that they can generate through those headlines, through those articles. So they're incentivized to talk more about AAA games so they can get the ad revenue from those views and hopefully, create more articles and bring in more revenue for the IGNs, the GameStops, whatever. They're less incentivized to talk about a small indie game. So how are you going to get in front of them? How are you going to incentivize them? What is going to entice them to talk about you above the next Halo game, the next Call of Duty game, all these big titles? So if you build rapport with somebody, if you just open up that line of communication and start emailing, start adding them on LinkedIn, start interacting with their content, invite them to a coffee, Zoom meetup, chit chat, ask them to go meet up with you at a local gaming convention. Typically, emailing or at least social media is that introduction into those later meetings down the road. Almost all of my contacts, when I started out in this industry, I didn't know anybody in the industry. So immediately the first thing I did, once I found everybody's contact information, I would immediately email them, and then I would immediately add them to social media. And this, I used to be on all the social media accounts, and now I'm just strictly on LinkedIn because that's where most of the professionals are. But that would be my 1-2 punch. But you have to at least introduce yourself and get in front of everybody else. So I would strongly, strongly suggest, don't be intimidated by email. All of us are on our email every single day. A lot of us are getting spam, yes. But if you're just leading with genuine connection, whenever I've reached out to a game journalist, a content influencer for any of the stuff that I do, I never talk about myself, my products, my services. Oh, I offer marketing such and such and such and such and such. I never talk about me and my achievements. I typically will research the person, and typically I only reach out to people that I generally like. If there's a game that I like, I'll find whoever the creator was at. I'll add them to LinkedIn, and shoot them an email and just say, that game was freaking amazing. Like, let's stay connected. Like, let me buy you a coffee sometime. I just want to pick your brain. Like, because the art, the music, the whatever, it was amazing. Like, I just have to know more about, how you created this game and what your journey was like. So hopefully that's a roundabout way to say,
Yeah.
please do not avoid emailing people, even if you're super scared. I promise you, it's not that serious.
I love that. And I think another one that's I've done it in the past, and once again, not for an ask, but just for a connection or just in general, is if you see something that is wrong. So for example, I was doing some research for a potential guest, and I was just kind of scrolling through different people's websites, and I noticed that one person had a their buy like wish sorry and I noticed that one of the devs had their Steam wishlist button. When you clicked it, it actually went to a 404 broken page.
Mm,
So I just emailed them saying like, "Hey man, I just wanted to just give you a quick heads up. Like, I love what you're building, but the link on your website's broken. You know, like you might be losing wish lists because it's not connected. So I just wanted to give you a quick heads up." And that's it. Like, it wasn't can you go and wish list my game as a thank you, or like, you know what I mean? None of
mhm.
that. But I think just if you see a typo, if you see something, whatever it is that you can help with or fix or provide some extra guidance on, it's an amazing tool to build that connection and build that relationship, or at least to start one.
Yeah, and the same thing goes for, take that strategy and add Discord to it. Like all these indie studios have Discords. I guarantee you, at least like 99% of them. So if you find a game or a game studio that you really want to connect with, before you even email them, if you're intimidated by emailing them, join their Discord server first. Use the same profile picture in your Discord that you would on Gmail, Yahoo, LinkedIn, wherever. So there's consistency there. So when somebody sees your message, you consistently interacting on their Discord, they know that face. So once that email comes into their inbox, they immediately know who you are. So they feel more comfortable opening up your email amongst all the spam stuff.
Love it. Love it. All right. So we have talked and kind of, let's say, laid the foundation a little bit about why it's important for us to be reaching out as indie devs, or at least including this within their strategy, right? I know we've said kind of they, and we've referred to streamers and things like that. But Taylor, let me know if I have my list correctly. When we are talking about who are we reaching out to, these are content creators. So this is someone like a streamer, a YouTuber, TikToker, like kind of that realm. It could be publishers, it could be press and journalists, and then the other two that I have is other developers, and we can kind of go into why it's even important to talk with other devs. And then I have event organizers in online community. So, you know, people who host different, whether it's a different meetup or people who are hosting different showcases and things along those lines. Am I missing kind of anyone that a dev might be looking to include in their reach out strategy?
There's a recent study that was done on like how do gamers discover their popular games, in 2025. And the biggest two were TikTok and YouTube, or some sort of like multimedia platform. So like YouTube, or what was it? I think it was just, yeah, it was just YouTube and TikTok, I believe. So you have to understand, like, one huge thing that I would advise to absolutely everybody out there, one huge mistake that I see everyone make is making sure that you're not just reaching out to the Asmongold's of the world or the multi-million dollar streamers out there, because once again, you have to remember, how are you going to stand out from the crowd? So one thing that I would strongly suggest is reach out to the smaller content creators, though the ones that have, 10,000 followers, or just, they just started to expand their YouTube channel or their YouTube presence, or they're starting to gain a following on TikTok. Reach out to them too, but make sure you're reaching out to the niche down content creators. So for example, like I'm obsessed with the Little Nightmares IP, and I ended up finding a whole bunch of their content creators online, and just because I wanted to see like concept art and all this stuff, I really nerded out about it. But then I ended up finding a YouTube streamer that like was niche down. He was smaller, like he didn't have millions and millions of followers, but he specifically only played like horror platformer games. So once again, he had like this small, he had maybe like 50,000 followers on YouTube, but I ended up reaching out to him and building out a rapport with him. So now if I'm working with an indie developer that has like doing some sort of small cutesy platformer slash horror suspense theme elements to it, I can go talk to this guy now. So that's like, make sure that you're reaching out to the smaller niche down content creators as well.
Love it. And I think another thing for people to consider, and again, coach, keep me honest if I'm wrong here, but when you're going down to the niche, especially of the game that you're creating, like those wish lists that you get from a creator is worth way more than a wish list from a more, let's call it, general streamer, right? Like if someone who is interested in horror platformers are watching this guy's channel and he's showing a game, if they wish list, like, you have a way better chance of them actually following through and buying the game, as opposed to you reaching out to, someone who just plays whatever it is, RPGs or just indie games in general, right? I think it's really important to find your audience. And I think when people think marketing, they think sales, and like you've talked to before, but marketing is putting your game in front of the right target audience and your target audience. Going and finding those small streamers is a really great way of doing that.